Hello friends, this is Mrs. Dennis, and today we are going to introduce our read aloud. So it is The Wind in the Willows, Chapter 5, and this chapter is called Mr. Badger. So as always, the first thing that we're going to start with is our vocabulary. So, vocabulary. Our first word is atmosphere, the distinct quality of a particular place. Right, so when we think about the atmosphere, the first thing we do is we look up into the sky. That's basically what it is. But the atmosphere they have different levels. The troposphere, the stratosphere, the mesosphere, the thermosphere, and the exosphere. And these kilometers, they tell you like the distance away from the Earth. So this is what we think about when we think about atmosphere. Conducted. Conducted means led, guided, or escorted. Now I want you to think back to a couple days ago. And we had the vocabulary word escorted. And the definition for that was led. So if you think about conducted and escorted are synonymous. They're synonyms. They can be interchangeable, right? So conducted is led, guided, or escorted. And you can see my little picture of a conductor here conducting a symphony. Retired. So retired means went away or withdrew for privacy. So when I think about retirement, or when I think about retired, I think about when a person retires from a job. That means they went away from the job. They don't work there anymore. They're done. They spent their 30 years there and they are retiring so that they can go to another life where they don't have to work anymore, a more private life, right? So when it says went away or withdrew for privacy, when you retire from a job, you go away to your home and you have more privacy because you stay in your home more. You don't go out as much. You don't get up and go to work every day. So that's what I think about when I think about retired, or when someone retires. Summoned. That means signaled, beckoned, or called. So think about it like this. Has anyone ever called your name, like called you from the other room? They summoned you, right? I don't care if they summoned you to pick something up or bring them something or give them something. But if they called you from the other room, you were being summoned. So you can do that on the phone. You can just do your little finger motion and tell someone to come here, right? You summoned someone. Thoroughly. It means completely or totally, right? So when you thoroughly clean your room, you completely clean your room, right? I know that my daughter, she's 11, she'll be 12 next week. She does not thoroughly clean her room. And I have to go behind her and I have to tell her all the things that she needs to do to thoroughly clean it. So when you thoroughly do something, you complete it all the way, 100%. So our word for today, word is summoned. And we just talked about it. It means to be called or beckoned or sent for. So when they were thoroughly warmed, badgers summoned them to the table to eat a delicious meal. That just means they called them, right? So I want you to look at the bottom of the screen. And it says, I gave you a little hint about, does this show hospitality? I want you to read that. Listen to that sentence again. When they were thoroughly warmed, badgers summoned them to the table to eat a delicious meal. If you call someone to your table to eat a delicious meal, does that show hospitality? We're going to talk about hospitality. I want you to just keep that in the back of your minds for me, right in the back. Theme. Here's that theme again. Friends, we talk about theme every day. We've been talking about theme every day. We're going to keep talking about theme. Theme is one of our literary tools, right? So what is theme, right? It's the message, the lesson, or moral that the author wants you to learn, right? So when we think about theme for The Wind in the Willows, chapters 1, 2, and 3, what themes have we heard so far? That's right. We've heard friendship, loyalty. That's a theme that we've heard. Responsibility, right? Who's being responsible? We theme of responsibility. and irresponsibility, right? That's also another thing. So today, when you listen to the next chapter, right, Mr. Badger, chapter 5, you're going to hear about the theme of hospitality. You're going to hear about hospitality, right? Let's talk about that. Hospitality is treating guests well and being warm, welcoming, and friendly toward them. A person who shows hospitality is someone who is very attentive to their guests' or friends' needs. This means that they always make sure that their guests or friends are comfortable and have everything they need, often anticipating what things may be. So what does that mean? Well, have you ever had some friends over to your house? Yeah, I have. So when I have friends over, I make sure that if they're thirsty, I get them water or something to drink. I make sure they're comfortable. If they're staying over, if we have friends that are staying over the night, I make sure that they have a comfortable place to sleep. If they're cold, I'll get them extra blankets. If they're hot, I'll turn on the fan or turn down the air. I do the things to make them feel comfortable and make them feel welcomed into my home, right? That's what it means to show hospitality. So I want you to take that, and then I want you to, as you listen to the story, I want you to think about ways that our characters show hospitality. Are they welcoming in some sort of way? Do they make them feel comfortable in some sort of way? Do they pay attention to them in some sort of way? So I want you to think about how our characters show hospitality in this story. When you listen to chapter 5, hospitality. How are they showing hospitality? And I want you to think about this. Can you think of any examples of hospitality in the story so far? What about when Mole and Rat had their picnic? Did that show hospitality? What about when when Rat invited Mole into his home and gave him a dressing gown or a robe, sat him by the fire so that he could be warm? When he dozed off, had him doze off, or when he went to sleep in one of the comfortable beds in the home. Was that showing hospitality? Did that make his guest comfortable? Remember, at that time, Mole was Rat's guest. Did Rat make Mole feel comfortable? Absolutely. Yeah. That's what it means to show hospitality, right? It means to make sure your guests are comfortable. What about when Toad, Rat, and Mole got into Toad's green and yellow caravan and how comfortable Toad wanted them to feel in the caravan? Did Toad show hospitality then? Oh, absolutely. He sure did. Right? So these are examples of hospitality. And at the time, we hadn't talked about that vocabulary word. We hadn't talked about hospitality, and we had not talked about what that means as a theme for this story. So going forward, we're going to add that to our list, right? We already have 4. We're going to add hospitality. So that's going to be 5 themes that we're going to continue to think about and continue to talk about in this story. Let's make a prediction. So where were we when we finished the last read aloud, right? Mole and Rat had gotten to Mr. Badger's door. That was the end, right? What do you see in this picture? Can you describe it? I see Mole and Rat standing at Badger's door. I see the door pull. I see Mr. Badger's name on the door. I see them staring at the door, waiting to get in. They've already knocked on the door. So let's make a prediction, right? A prediction is a guess of what you think is going to happen in the future. So let's make a prediction. Will Mr. Badger be home? What do you think? Yes or no? Some say no. Some say yes. That's a good prediction. Right? Will Mr. Badger be home? Some of you think he will be. Some of you think he will not be. That's a good prediction. Will Mr. Badger show hospitality to Rat and Mole? Well, some of you said yes. Well, yes, if he's home, he can show hospitality. You're absolutely right. If he's home, he can show hospitality. What if he's not home? If he's not home, can he show hospitality? No, how can you show hospitality and you're not home? So for my friends who think Mr. Badger will be home, you also think that he'll show hospitality, right? Yeah. And for my friends who think that Mr. Badger is not home, you said, well, no, he's not going to show hospitality because he's not home. Yeah, you're right. So we're going to continue to think about this idea of hospitality. And what hospitality means is to make sure that our friends are comfortable, make sure that our guests are comfortable and they have what they need. So I want you to listen to chapter 5, Mr. Badger, and I want you to think about what is Mr. Badger doing to show hospitality. That's what I want you to think about for today. All right, friends, that's it for now.